This is a video response to Jasmine Ambrosia about the light and the dark. I recognize the difference in the equinoxes and the solstices and Samhain and Mabon as all being significant times to reconnect and reconsider our relationship to the light and dark. Where I live, it's very much more aligned in my way of thinking to the equinoxes, as far as when autumn comes, the amount of daylight is dramatically lessened. And due to the weather, the climate that I live in, the growing season is pretty much done. Once the hard frosts come, there's a lot of plants that may not survive, especially the annuals outside. And being a physical being, my life is dependent on food, and therefore the plant cycle, whether it's animals eating food or etc., etc. I was raised on an apple orchard, so, and again, in the same kind of geographical region of having 4 distinct seasons, whereas some people closer to the equator may not. So that there was the apple harvest around Mabon. We purchased cows in the spring and slaughtered them in October after the apple harvest was completed, and that was our meat for the winter and for the majority of the year. So I do live in the seasonal region that is based upon the Gregorian calendar equinox light and dark cycle. And as far as weather goes as well, to me, I feel that when the days shorten, we are invited to go within and explore the more feminine side of ourselves. And when Yule, the solstice, happens, that the days lengthen and we're invited to explore the more active outer aspects of ourselves and our goals for the year. Since Mabon just occurred, we are again invited inwards to see how we are in an inner way, to come back to ourselves in a soul way, to feel how we would like the next year to go until you will come. So I guess I'm actually in attunement with all three, because around Samhain, the harvest of the meat, when traditionally before refrigeration things could be stored without being salted or fermented or canned or any other sort of traditional preservation, when it was colder, things would last longer. Or if meat was naturally frozen outside because the temperatures were low, depending on where you lived, of course. But it's a bit of a combination of all of the three. But for me, in my practice, it's more about the light and the dark of the world. Like this time of year, things don't really grow here because the soil gets so waterlogged. It's cold. The soil temperatures aren't warm enough for things to actually flourish. There's not enough daylight hours. As you can see, I live in the forest. So there's just not much in the way of plant growing this time of year. As the bracken ferns right here, as soon as the hard frosts come, they will be brown and this whole space will be level. So to me, in this physical manifestation and the region that I live in, I feel a stronger connection to the plant world. As far as light and dark goes. And I believe the light and the dark goes into masculinity and femininity. just a way of connecting to our inner selves, our receptive sides, and getting inspiration from the divine, whatever you want to call it, versus the spring summer energy of going out into the world and making things happen, more of the physical manifestation, like bringing our thoughts and ideas into physical reality. There's my 2 cents. Blessed be.